You're born in a private clinic in a northern border city. Your father reserves the entire east wing of the building. 15 men guard every entrance. The doctor who delivers you earns more for that single night than he would in 8 months. Your first cry blends with the pop of imported champagne bottles. You're 4 days old, and there's already a song with your name playing on regional radio. You didn't choose any of this, but it chose you. Your childhood unfolds inside a sprawling estate that feels more like a private town. There's a colonial chapel, 3 sports courts, stables filled with purebred horses, and an aviary stocked with exotic birds purchased at auctions across the border. You have everything a child could imagine, except the possibility of being normal. You don't attend school with other kids. Tutors travel to you. Lessons happen inside the compound. Your classmates are the children of your father's most trusted men. They treat you differently because they know exactly who you are. Your earliest memories involve security. Men with radios clipped to their belts. Men with weapons visible beneath embroidered shirts. Men who straighten their posture the second your father enters a room. Men who call you young sir before you're even 7. Your father is affectionate when he's present, but he's rarely fully present. There are always meetings, always calls, always business. When he gives you time, he gives you everything. But there's a part of him that remains locked away. It's the part that makes grown men look at him with devotion and fear in the same breath. At 9, you ask the question every child eventually asks. What does my dad really do? Your mother, elegant and perfectly composed, tells you he's an international businessman. Import and export, agricultural goods, logistics. You want to believe her, but you've seen too much already. Men arrive with heavy briefcases, doors close, conversations switch to coded language. Names are never spoken twice. Your education becomes a study in contradictions. On one side, your father is obsessed with your academic success. You have to be smarter than me, he tells you. I learn by colliding with reality. You'll learn from books. You master English early, study economics, mathematics, global history. On the other side, you absorb lessons no classroom teaches. Trust is dangerous. Power isn't requested, it's exercised. Loyalty has a price. Betrayal has consequences. At 13, your father brings you to your first serious meeting at a mountain property. You arrive by helicopter. Dozens of men wait below. When the aircraft lands, every single one of them stands. Your father places a hand on your shoulder. This is my son. One day he will sit where I sit. You will respect him as you respect me. The men nod in silence. In that moment, you stop being just a child. You become the heir. Around the same time, you meet the financial strategist. Mid-40s, thin, nervous energy behind designer glasses. Always attached to a laptop. Your father treats him differently than the commanders. Not with fear, with reverence. This man is worth more than 30 gunmen, your father tells you later. The ones who carry weapons are necessary. The one who moves money without leaving a trace is irreplaceable. One afternoon, the strategist explains his job in simple terms. Imagine your father sells fruit, he says calmly, but he can't report those sales without attracting questions. So I create hotel chains that barely operate, fuel stations that exist mostly on paper, restaurant franchises that never open their doors. The money from the fruit flows through those businesses. On paper, everything is clean. You ask if that's cheating. He smiles, tired. It is, but it's the kind of cheating that keeps many of us alive. Your teenage years split between 2 worlds. Part of the year you live in a major American city with your mother. You shop, attend games, walk through malls like any wealthy student. No one knows your name carries weight. Then you return south, back to armored vehicles, armed escorts. The reality that normal was never an option. At 15, you receive your first luxury watch. At 16, a European SUV worth more than 3 average homes. Your father hands you the keys and a semi-automatic pistol. The car is for enjoyment, he says. The weapon is for survival. You learn to shoot at a private range. You're precise. But every time you hold the weapon, you understand its purpose isn't sport. As you grow older, your father stops hiding the truth. He explains the hierarchy. He sits at the top. Below him, lieutenants control territories. Operational cells move product, but the foundation rests on three pillars: security, logistics, and finance. Without protection, the structure collapses. Without routes, nothing moves. Without financial transformation, the money is useless. You begin observing the financial machine up close. A small team operates from a discreet office in the capital. On paper, they're accountants. In reality, they transform mountains of cash into legitimate assets. Hotels, real estate, fuel companies, import-export firms. Money moves through dozens of jurisdictions before returning home cleaned and sanitized. It's choreography. Your father teaches you balance. Respect makes them loyal, he says. Fear makes them careful. You need both. At 19, you enroll in a private university in a Western city. Officially, you study business administration. You attend classes, social events. You even have a girlfriend who believes your family trades in produce. But there are always two bodyguards 50 meters away. Your vehicle is armored. You change routes daily. You never stay in one residence for long. You learn the paradox of your position. Unlimited resources. No freedom. Influence. No anonymity. You attend negotiations. South American suppliers discussing shipments like stock portfolios. Northern distributors who only care about punctual delivery. Financial presentations look identical to corporate boardrooms. Quarterly growth charts, projections, cost analysis. The only difference is that losses are measured in lives. You begin working directly with the financial strategist, shell companies, layered transfers, offshore loans between corporations you control. Moving money, he tells you, is harder than moving product. Product hides in compartments. Money has to look legitimate to governments that study patterns for a living. By 22, you've witnessed decisions that ended lives. You didn't pull a trigger, but your approval made outcomes inevitable. Sleep becomes difficult. You start drinking. Your father notices. Alcohol is a weakness, he warns. In this world, weakness gets exploited. One night, the strategist shows you the numbers. Billions in gross revenue annually. Hundreds of millions in profit. A portion successfully integrated into legitimate markets. The rest stored as physical cash in secure locations. We have so much currency, he says quietly, that some of it deteriorates before we can use it. It sounds absurd. It's real. At 24, you're officially a real estate developer. You build residential complexes using capital of questionable origin. You sell to legitimate buyers. Clean money flows back in. It's a perfect cycle. On the surface, you're a young executive. Behind closed doors, you're part of a structure where competitors don't file lawsuits. They eliminate rivals. Late at night, in your luxury apartment, you wonder who you might have been in another life. If your father had been a professor, an architect, an ordinary shop owner, would you have left? You already know the answer. No. Your last name is power. And a prison. One evening, after too much expensive brandy, the strategist confesses something. I could have been chief financial officer of a multinational corporation, he says. I could have taught at elite universities. Instead, I use my talent here, and I can't walk away. I know too much. You watch your father age rapidly. He's barely in his 50s, but looks far older. Stress, paranoia. Assassination attempts survived. Old friends buried. Power keeps him alive. Power is also killing him. You see your future clearly. Best case, you survive long enough to retire quietly. Worst case, you end up in a cell in another country. There are no happy endings in this world. Only less tragic ones. You were born into a palace that doubles as a cage. You have wealth beyond imagination, but you've never known true freedom. Every day you wake up is another day inside a sentence that began at birth. You are heir to an empire built on suffering. Your name opens doors and locks them. You're surrounded by people at all times, and fundamentally alone. The darkest truth isn't that you're trapped. It's that you're no longer sure you want to escape, because this is all you've ever known. This is your world. And in this distorted world, you're the prince of a kingdom no one sane would ever want to inherit.